Good morning. This is your weekly update for Monday, June 27, 2022. I'm Jim Stewart. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Worth Asset Management. And today I'm going to go over the three threes for the week, our three market movers, our three favorite and least favorite asset classes. And I have a new one for you this week. We're going to go over the three top questions that we are getting today, which is one, are we in a recession? Two, have we bottomed? And three, in this market, what are you adding? What are you buying today? Let's hit our three top market movers.
Okay, let's go over the top three market movers for the week. Finally, a equity rally in the market. The S&P 500 was up over 6%, all while we had the biggest outflow in 9 weeks, according to Bank of America. Now we're heading into the final trading days of the worst half performance for stocks in 50 years. But the street is hoping that last week's bounce won't be viewed as a bear market rally because of this rebalance effect that is happening at month end and quarter end. But here's the thing that they're not telling you. Usually it's a conversion between bonds and equities or equities and bonds, but both of them were down double digits for the quarter and year to date. So there's not as much movement that you're going to see a rebalancing effect. So I'm not sure that this bounce is going to have any legs, but we'll see. Volatility. The VIX remained above 30 for most of the week, but when Powell talked on Thursday afternoon, it started to sell off. Now, here's a key note. No bear market since the VIX was created has bottomed with the VIX under 45. Right now, it's sitting barely under 30. We'd have to get up extremely high. That's where you see the blood in the streets before we can probably say that this is a bottom. We shall see, but we haven't reached that point yet. But we'll go over a bottoming process here in just a minute. All right, let's go over our top three asset classes. Commodities, US dollar, T-bills all remain in the top three, so no change. The bottom three, again, no change. We still have the NASDAQ, small cap equities, and long treasury bonds in the bottom three. And here's why. The S&P returned like I said, over 6% for the week. Small caps, NASDAQ did really well, while commodities, US dollar, and the T-bills kind of lagged this last week. But if you look at the 3-month period, you have the S&P still down 13%. You have all of this weakness, still double-digit negative returns. Now, the positives aren't as positive as they were, but they're still positive when we're looking at all of these negatives over here. So still, that's the strength in this market, at least as of today. All right, let's go over the three questions that we get asked the most is, are we in a recession? Well, the textbook definition is 2 negative GDP quarters in a row. Okay, so let's take a look at the quarters. First quarter of this year, the GDP declined 1.5%. Let's take a look at the second quarter. Wow. As of June 16th, according to the Fed GDP now, we're at 0.0. We are literally right on that line on whether or not we're going to be positive or negative to have the textbook version of, are we in a recession? Well, let's see what the street says. Well, JP Morgan says the US economy is going to avoid a recession because we're going to have a strong second half of 2022. On the other hand, Morgan Stanley says stocks could go down another 20% and the risk of recession are rising. Goldman Sachs reiterates that and says they've gone up to almost 50% probability that we're going to go into a recession over the next 2 years. Who is in a recession though? This is kind of an important question to ask. Here is a look of the upper middle, and lower class. And the upper class making a lot of money, they're not feeling this as much as everyone else is. If you look here at the median middle income is $90,000. They are feeling this pinch, this 8.6 inflation is hitting them square in the cheek. Okay. Now let's look at it as a percentage of adults in those income tiers. Well, if the median is at 90, the majority of the people making 120 or lower probably shoots up to about 60 to 65%. So that's the percentage of people that are feeling this inflation, and those are the people that are in a recession. Now, the world, because we're the largest growth engine out there, they're at over 75% are in a recession. So a lot of people are feeling this. So even if the textbook number doesn't come in negative next quarter, a lot of people are definitely going to say that this is a recession. The next question we get asked a lot is, have we reached a bottom? Well, I've shown this chart before. I've added a few columns. This is the last 70 years bear markets. Okay, not every time do we go through a recession, but the majority of people are in a recession in 2022. We are definitely in a bear market. We're down over 20%. We're so far 179 days into this bear market, and we've gone through a couple of gyrations here where we're protecting and adding 2 times. So as you can see here, as I went over in another graph, it can be up to 7 times before we find a bottom. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart now. And so if we can see if we have a bottom.
Okay, let's go back to the board to see how we fared in the latest bear market of 2022. Okay, these aren't the bottoms. We call these A bottoms. Okay, we had one in early March, we had one in early May, and then we had another one here, just here in the middle of June. So as you can see, our first bottom here, we started adding some equities in here. False alarm, went to protect mode again, down through here, went back up, didn't buy, went back down, and this is where we're at today. Okay, so we've got to see a little bit of follow through this week to even start getting excited about the S&P 500, and then probably another week before we can go, maybe this is a bottom. So we're still 2 weeks early on this. So like I said, we call them a bottom, not the bottom. So let's recap. Are we in a recession? Yes, the majority of the world and the US are feeling this, and yes, even if the numbers don't come in negative for the second quarter, I believe we're in a recession. 2, are we in a bottom? Well, we just went over that, and it's still yet to be determined. We still have some time to find that out. We need another week or 2 to kind of confirm that. What are you adding? What are you buying today in this market? Well, there are some things that we could be buying, and right now we're buying selective bonds in the portfolio, and we are buying an equity here, but it's the bad C word. I hate to say it. I don't believe in their politics. I don't believe in a lot of things that they're doing, but they are a place of strength right now. Over the last month, they're up 16%. We got to keep an eye on them. We're starting to nibble in China. Now, there's some other things, but we're going to keep those proprietary for our clients. But here's 2 examples. That's it. Thank you for joining us. Our next update will be Tuesday, July 5th, Monday being July 4th. Happy early Independence Day. The question we're going to answer next week is, how do we win in a bear market? There are some ways that you can win in a bear market, and we're going to go over those next week. So thanks again for joining us. We look forward to continuing this discussion next week. Thank you.